Welcome back to the news at 10. Governor CHIRAC Dickson of BAYELSA State has congratulated the newly elected Speaker of the State House of Assembly, Right Honorable Bubu Obolo. This is coming in the wake of the unrest that rocked the chamber earlier today, where the former Speaker, Tonya Isena, was impeached. The new Speaker, Mr. Obolo, represents Southern Ijaw Constituency 2 in the House. The governor said in a statement that the new Speaker is a promising, young and vibrant political leader with the capacity to carry out the sensitive responsibility of presiding over the affair of the legislative arm of government. Lawyers for whistleblower whose complaint triggered a presidential impeachment inquiry are drawing attention to President Trump's comments about the identity of their client. This comes as the Ukrainian president is unwilling to share the Ukrainian summary of the July 25th call. Here's Simon Pusey with more international news in Around the World in 5.
Good evening from the Channel's newsroom here in London. Jihadists have attacked a military base where US soldiers train commandos in Somalia. It's not yet known the extent of the casualties. The Al-Shabaab militant group said it had carried out the attack using a car bomb to blast through the gates before sending its fighters inside. Local residents also reported heavy blasts and gunfire at an airport in the southern Lower Shabelle region. Military officials say the jihadists have been pushed back. In a separate attack, an Italian military convoy was hit by an explosion earlier in the day. Nearly 2,000 family members and dignitaries have gathered for the funeral service of France's former president Jacques Chirac. His body was taken in a hearse from the Hôtel des Invalides in central Paris, where it had been lying in state for 2 days, to the Saint-Sulpice Church. The current French president, Emmanuel Macron, accompanied by dozens of military, saluted Chirac's coffin set on the ground of the courtyard of Paris's Invalides Military Museum. Thousands of people then attended a service at Saint-Sulpice Church for the funeral service, including the Russian President Vladimir Putin, former US President Bill Clinton, and the former French Presidents Nicolas Sarkozy and François Hollande. France is holding a day of national mourning following his death. Chirac was lauded by many French people for asserting the country's role as a global player and for opposing the 2003 invasion of Iraq. He died last week at the age of 86. The Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky says Kiev is unlikely to publish its version of a transcript of a phone call with US President Donald Trump, which is at the heart of an impeachment inquiry in Washington. Speaking at an event at a military site near Kiev on Monday, Zelensky said he felt it would be wrong to share the Ukrainian summary or transcript of the call. The White House published its summary of the call last week. It showed Trump, a Republican, asking Zelensky to investigate one of his main rivals in the 2020 election, the former US Vice President Joe Biden, and his son Hunter, who sat on the board of a Ukrainian gas company. Democrats say the call proves Trump improperly sought a foreign leader's help to smear a political opponent. Trump calls the accusations a witch hunt. In Russia, a Moscow court has overturned a prison sentence for the actor Pavel Ustinov, giving him a 1-year suspended sentence instead, in a case that has sparked protests and a major solidarity campaign. The 23-year-old was sentenced to 3.5 years in prison for violence against police at an opposition protest. Despite his insistence, he was simply a bystander. A judge at the Moscow City Court said that the ruling should be changed. The hearing took place after more than 25,000 people took part in an authorized opposition rally in Moscow on Sunday in support of those detained at anti-government protests. Heavy rains have killed at least 113 people in India's Uttar Pradesh and Bihar states over the past 3 days. That's according to officials. The country's monsoon season usually begins petering out by early September, but heavy rains have continued across parts of the country this year, triggering the floods that have swamped major cities and inundated hospital wards. An official said that at least 93 people died in the country's most populous state, Uttar Pradesh, after its eastern areas were lashed by particularly intense downpours. Meanwhile, the country is preparing for a nationwide ban on several single-use plastics, ranging from bags, cups and straws, on Wednesday. It is thought to be India's most sweeping measure yet to stamp out single-use plastics from cities and villages that rank among the world's most polluted. It's after an Independence Day speech by Prime Minister Narendra Modi, who urged people and government agencies to take the first big step on October the 2nd towards freeing India of single-use plastics. Spectacular light shows have taken place in cities across China a day before the nation's 70th birthday. The skies were lit up above Guangzhou, capital of South China's Guangdong province, while the ancient city of Xi'an and the coastal city of Qingdao came to life with tens of thousands of LED lights lighting up some of their landmarks. On Tuesday, a huge military parade will take place in the capital, Beijing, as part of its celebrations for 70 years of Communist Party rule. And finally, Alain Robert, dubbed as a French Spider-Man, has climbed his latest skyscraper, the 39-story high Skyper Tower in Frankfurt in Germany. The 57-year-old is famed for climbing 165 of the world's tallest skyscrapers with his bare hands. Dozens of photographers arrived as word spread of the feat. Robert often climbs without permission and has been arrested more than 120 times. He has the dubious honor of being named the world's most arrested man by the Guinness Book of World Records. He was arrested this time too, but says people shouldn't be worried about his safety. And that's your international news around the world in 5.
And in sports news, World Football Governing Body FIFA insists Cardiff City must pay Nantes £5.3 million, the sum agreed as the first installment for the transfer of Emiliano Sala, who died in a plane crash on his way to the Welsh club. After signing for €15 million in January, Salah was travelling there from the French club when his plane crashed in the English Channel. That's as far as we can go in sports news. Archie, back to you.
Thanks, Illumine. And the main news again, the Federal High Court in Abuja today remanded the presidential candidate of the African Action Congress, Omoyele Sowore, and his partner, Olawale Bakare, in DSS custody over alleged treasonable felony and conspiracy to carry out revolution protest aimed at removing the president. That'll be all on the news at 10 tonight. Thank you for watching. I am Amarachi Ubani. Good night to you.